Last Sunday was one of those days you look at it and you say, the Cardinals offense absolutely stinks. What else would you expect out of a team quarterbacked by Suck Bradford? A Cardinals team that in 2 games had scored 6 points. 6 of them. 6. However you want to look at it. 6 freaking points. With a Bears defense that's pretty good, that can really get after the quarterback behind super stud Khalil motherfucking Mack, you would have assumed the Bears could go into the desert on Sunday and blow the Cardinals out of the water. And there was really no reason to think otherwise. But in what was a crazy week of the NFL, of course that didn't happen. And of course, as a Chicago fan, I say this, leave it to a Bears team or a Chicago team in general to allow a team like the Cardinals, who had no business even being in their area code on Sunday, to immediately jump out to a 14-point lead. Like you actually almost fooled people into thinking that Sam Bradford didn't totally and completely suck. Blown coverages, missed assignments early on. Before you know it, like that, 14-0, the Cardinals are up, and you're saying to yourself, oh my God, maybe this could be like the 2006 Monday night game in the desert. Just maybe. Because it was less than an ideal start. And especially once Cody Parkey missed his first field goal, you're starting to sit there and think to yourself, oh, this could be a really bad, long, ugly day of football. But one measurement I will always use is bad teams find a way to lose games they should win, and good teams find a way to win games they should frankly lose. And for the Bears on Sunday, in a lot of ways, as the way things shook out initially, this was a game that they should have lost. You go down immediately on the road 14-0. Those are not games you're supposed to win that often. And based off of the way the Bears offense was playing and the defense with the early let-ups, you're wondering if they just came into it with their pants down, unprepared, and they were going to lose this game. And it felt like they should lose this game. But thankfully for the Bears, they climbed back in the second half. They forced 3 turnovers from Sam Bradford. Suck Bradford. They finally got a little bit of momentum offensively. I say a little bit because it wasn't too much. And then later on, Cody Parkey nailed a 14-0 lead and put him into the game with less than 5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter.
And Rosen throws a pick. More time. Last play, Rosen gets sacked. And the Bears find a way to hold on and win. It wasn't pretty. Most certainly wasn't anything to write home about. But when you're looking at a week where the Packers, for all intents and purposes, got boat raced by the Redskins in D.C., the Vikings had the sorry-ass Buffalo Bills come into town and boat race them. A win is a win, and you'll take it. You'll definitely take it. And now the Bears, as of the moment, sit atop the NFC North in first place at 2-1, and let's see how long they can stay there. Looking back at this game, the good, the bad, the ugly. Khalil Mack, once again, really, really good. 5 tackles, 2 sacks, a forced fumble. I think, if I'm not mistaken, he has more sacks than the entire Oakland Raiders team. The Bears are 2-1 and in first place. The Raiders are 0-3. And for all those smartasses that we're talking about, oh, the Raiders are going to get a top 10 pick. They most certainly are, and it's going to be their own. Ha-ha! But that Bears defense in the last 3 quarters, 0 points allowed, 4 turnovers allowed. And if you take away that late Khalil Mack offside penalty, which really didn't even have much of an impact, you lost an Eddie Jackson pick 6 out of the deal. The Bears would have actually been able to cover the spread, but that would have also been 5 turnovers. That Bears defense in the second half realized that Suck Bradford sucks, and
even with David Johnson and such, that Cardinals offense is no real threat whatsoever. And they started to remember that they were supposed to be a pretty good defense, and they finally, played like it. So that was the good, the bad. The Bears defense in the first quarter. 2 touchdowns allowed, blown coverages, missed assignments. Wasn't the best start for the defense for sure, and it put them in an early hole, which you most certainly don't want to be in on the road. And I also got to look at the Bears' running game. Jordan Howard only had 61 yards on 24 carries. This is a team that in order to be able to be successful, to be able to contend in that division, to be able to potentially go to the playoffs and maybe even make a little noise, they're going to need to get better production out of that running game. And they didn't get it on Sunday. They need it. And if they would have had better production out of the running game on Sunday, then maybe, just maybe, it would have been easier for them to climb into this game and they would have won it with a little more certainty than what they did. The ugly Mitchell Trubisky. Another example of you look at the box score and you maybe think it's not that bad, but it's not great. He really wasn't good. Just a little over 6 yards per pass attempt. That's mediocre. No touchdowns, 2 turnovers. Had another really bad throw. I think it was at the end of the first half where he's rolling right and you're in the red zone and he's throwing it across his body. Like, what the hell is going on here? And I know the narrative is supposed to be that this is a guy who doesn't have a lot of experience and his growth curve is going to be bigger and all of that. But just how many of these things are truly coachable, and just how many of these things do you think are going to get that much better? I mean, I'm just saying. So, yeah, you'll have the great throw to Allen Robinson down the sideline, but that's kind of a basic fundamental throw, frankly. The guy's not making enough of the consistent plays that you need him to make. His lack of pocket presence is really concerning. At times, he looks very, very scared. He really does. And he still struggles to see the field and go through his progressions. And those are not things that are necessarily coachable. It doesn't mean you have to give up on him yet. It doesn't mean that he's a bust yet. But for all these Bears kiss asses in the media that want to pretend like it's not that big of a deal like with Trubisky, it is. And stop pretending like this will just automatically go away. Because this feels like a familiar refrain for Bears fans. A great defense, running game, and the quarterback holds you back. Doesn't that sound familiar? Nah. But suck Bradford, my God. The fact that the Cardinals even wanted to go into Week 3 with Suck Bradford as their starter really begs to question the decision-making of Steve Wilks, the head coach, and that coaching staff. And while early you could have gotten fooled by saying, hey, the Cardinals jumped out to a 14-0 lead, reality struck very quickly the rest of that game. 3 second-half turnovers, and he was so bad they benched him in a fucking 2-point game with less than 5 minutes to go for the rookie who hadn't touched the field in the regular season. That's how bad Suck Bradford was. Horrible. Oh, we can pay him $15 million plus guaranteed money to absolutely suck. I told you so. Kiss my ass. But my final thoughts on this game, I look at the quarterbacks first. Mitchell Trubisky. He's had 17 starts now. That's just over a season worth of starts. And I know he only had 1 full season as a starter at North Carolina. But at some point in time, the excuses are going to have to kind of kick rocks. And at some point in time, we're going to have to see some type of growth and progression. And the truth of the matter is, I'm not seeing any growth or progression. It doesn't mean it's not going to come. It doesn't mean that it won't eventually be there. But right now, let's not pretend like there's been a lot of growth, because there hasn't. And when you bring in an offensive-minded head coach and you see very little to no progression, that is concerning. The same concerns I had about him at North Carolina still manifest here with the Chicago Bears in his second season. Especially when you see a guy like Patrick Mahomes showtiming it up for the Kansas City Chiefs with 13 touchdown passes in the first 3 games. I'm just saying. When do you start to worry about this a little bit? But to me, the bigger story is what the Cardinals did late in the game to Josh Rosen. Now, look, I'm not the biggest Rosen guy. That's well documented. But I also believe you should be putting your young quarterback in the best possible situation, especially when you're trying to give him his first action. And the way to not do that is to throw him into the fire against a Bears defense that's come alive in the second half with a really good pass rush with another guy in Rosen who's not the most naturally mobile as a passer, expecting him to help you win the game when Suck Bradford tried to piss it down his legs. Like, what the hell are you doing? Less than 5 minutes to go, and now all of a sudden you decide you want to play Rosen? All of a sudden you have this epiphany that Sam Bradford absolutely sucks? And then you bring him in? You want to talk about ways to mismanage a young quarterback and potentially ruin him? At least you could say with Baker Mayfield and the Browns, he came in because of injury, and then he had the whole second half. Josh Rosen gets thrown into late game fire with the Bears knowing he's going to have to throw a lot, meaning they're primarily one-dimensional, meaning they can kind of tee off and bring the heat. And how do you expect this to go well? An interception, and then if an offside penalty doesn't wipe it out, another interception that turns into a pick six. That's astoundingly stupid. And yeah, sure, Rosen's going to be the starter week 4 and going forward. He should have already been the damn starter to begin with. Because when you look at what happened in this game, you have to say to yourself, Rosen at least could have done everything that Sam Bradford did, and at least he would have gotten a game's worth of experience. I still don't get it. It's either the coaching staff is that stupid, and that should be incredibly concerning to Cardinals fans, or Josh Rosen wasn't ready to play, and maybe that should be even more concerning. But either way, to throw him into that situation did him an incredible disservice. It is exactly the type of way that you can ruin a young quarterback. When you look up ways to mismanage young quarterbacks, even Jeff Fisher says that's fucked up. But nonetheless, the Bears are 2-1, and for the moment, all alone in first place at the NFC North. And based off of the way Sunday started and how they finished, I'll take it.